Good evening and welcome to A Deadly Silence. I'm your host, Larry Curtis, and it's the goal of all of us associated with our program to bring you current and educational information associated with the drug and alcohol epidemics not only affecting our city of Brockton, but many of our South Shore communities. This evening, we're happy to have with us members of the Champion Plan, a program rolled out by the city of Brockton to help those that are dealing with a substance abuse issue. Our guest this evening, starting to my right, we'll start with Officer Nancy Leedberg, Community Education Officer, or CEO as she likes to be called. No. Also to my right is Peg Tiberio. Peg is from Stairway to Recovery and is the coordinator for the Champion Plan. On my left side, Lieutenant Richard Linehan. He's the supervisor for community education here in the city of Brockton. And to my far left, we have Mary Lou Garcia, Mary Lou, who is one of the recovery coaches with the Champion Plan. So I want to welcome everybody to our show. And the Champion Plan is a phenomenal plan that the city of Boston rolled out on February 29th. I want to get to that in a few minutes, though, but Peg, Stairway to Recovery. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there and what this organization's about.
So Stairway to Recovery is one of 10 recovery centers here in New England. We are one of the oldest centers. We're the second center created. It was in 2009. We're peer-to-peer, where the peers manage the center through community meetings. They make all the decisions for their center. Excuse me. They all the events, the outreach, everything is run by the peers. Then we also have peer leaders who take on roles such as social events coordinator, getting ready to go out into the workforce, social media, receptionist, and then we work with the career center, send people over there for trainings, and we also have in-house education. We are open 7 days. We have groups all day long. We start off with morning motivation 6 days a week. We have relapse prevention, wellness, a touch of music, which Mary Lou runs. Excuse me. We have women's group, men's group, gratitude lunch every Wednesday. So there's always something going on. We have NA and AA groups also.
So this is kind of a daily outpatient opportunity for those who may be dealing with the substance abuse, either in long-term recovery or maybe looking for a helping peer to help them get onto the road to recovery, that they can come to Stairway to Recovery and you'll make these different services available to them.
Absolutely. The peers are always available to anyone who walks through the door.
And the 7 days a week you're open, hours typically?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 8. Tuesday and Thursday, 9 to 5:30. Saturday, 9 to 3, and Sunday, 10 to 2.
Okay. So that being said about Stairway to Recovery and the great work that you're doing here in the community, let's talk about how the Champion Plan kind of came into play here in the city of Brockton. Obviously, there is a significant substance abuse concern going on, not only in the city of Brockton, but throughout all the Commonwealth. We saw up in, was it Newburyport that the police chief rolled out? Gloucester, thank you, Dick. Rolled out one of the programs of assistance to those suffering with the substance abuse disorder. And we saw the city of Brockton, under the leadership of Mayor Carpenter, say, why can't we do that here? So, Dick, as the community education officer, can you give us a little bit of background as to how the Brockton Police Department kind of came into play there?
We did go up to Gloucester. We met with their mayor and their chief, got an idea of their program, brought it back here, enhanced it in the Champion Plan, had the great provider, which we united with.
Stairway to Recovery.
So we always have somewhere that we can bring someone that's willing, that has that moment of clarity and willing to join and get them immediate service.
So Peg, what was the reception in regards to when the city came to Stairway to Recovery and say, we want to partner with you? What happened there?
So when the mayor originally came with Corin and Lieutenant and talked about the Champion Plan, it really was something that Stairway was already doing. Stairway was offering detoxing for all of their members and anyone that walked through the door for the last 9 years. So this is a little bit different because the Champion Plans follows people and gives them other services. But it was a perfect fit It was a perfect fit for the police department. We're just 2 blocks away, and a perfect fit for the mayor's office because his vision was very easy to follow, which was that we would bring people in and that we would make sure they had all the resources they needed going forward for at least 18 months.
So when we talk about a person that is dealing with a substance abuse disorder and they make the decision to walk into the Brockton Police headquarters, because it initially was going to be possibly at the fire departments, but there were issues that surfaced and it was determined that the police department would be the way to go. Tell us what happens when somebody walks in and say, I need help.
That's a big first step. Again, they're having that moment of clarity to walk into a police department.
Yep.
They're identified, a warrant check's done. If they have a warrant, we have to follow the warrant and place them under arrest. Has that happened? Yes. The results? The warrant's been cleared, they come right back into the lobby to join the plan. That hasn't faltered. We've been 100% with that.
Mm-hmm. So I would tend to think that the district courts are working in conjunction in recognizing the substance abuse concerns of the individual who's taken the time to walk in and surrender themselves.
They've been positive.
Yeah.
They'd rather treatment than jail.
Okay, that's excellent.
If they clear the warrant, there's no warrants, a query check is done. Once the query check is completed, then champion program's called. The champion or 2 will come over. Before they leave the station, they have to be searched.
Okay,
And they comply.
make sure no contraband.
and or weaponry, and we've had
Okay.
nothing.
Okay.
No weapons, no contraband.
For the
no
safety
drugs.
of the caregivers at Stairway to Recovery, obviously, as
And
well
once-
as your own safety. Yep.
And once they consent, they're on their way.
They're on their way. So you make the call, individuals from the Stairway to Recovery come over, they pick up the individual who's made the courageous first step, to come forward, and tell us what happens when they walk back with you over to the Stairway to Recovery, Beck.
I think the walking back part is one of my favorites. There's a great opportunity to build a relationship in those 2 blocks. Then some people are coming to the police station who've never gone into a detox. It really shows the faith that these people have in the police department to go there and get safe treatment. So we go and pick them up. We walk on the way back. We ask them always, how can we help you today in your recovery? It's the same statement we say to everybody who comes to the door at Stairway. And they say they're looking for a detox, and we kind of have a talk about when was the last time you were in a detox, what would work for you this time, what is something that we could help to make sure that you'd be more successful this time. And sometimes they'll talk about further treatment, step-down program, or they've dreamed about going to North Cottage, or they want a halfway house. So that if Mary Lou and I go, so by the time we get back to the Stairway, we're getting ready to go into one of the offices and do the paperwork, we kind of have an idea of what the person's looking for. And we also have that moment where we'll get a cup of coffee for them, maybe something to eat, and take a few minutes to kind of give them a chance to get used to us.
And Mary Lou, as a recovery coach, what does it mean for somebody who has taken that first step to walk into, Stairway and really be amongst peers who have witnessed, who have gone through similar experiences? What is that like for them to come into that environment?
Wow. Basically being able to walk through the steps with them and being able to relate to them and being a mentor, kind of, and telling them that it's all right, I've been there, gone through it, the experience, it's okay, and you can recuperate and reestablish yourself and start over, and there is hope at the end of the rope. There's always an opportunity to reestablish yourself and give them the opportunity that I've been there, done that, and here I am starting over, and there is the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess is how I would put it.
Okay. So reinforcing and supporting their decision to seek help and take that first step. A big part of the program as it was rolled out had to deal with the veterans organization. So I know that there was a big emphasis talked about that, when a veteran would to walk into police headquarters and ask for that help, that the VA is also on board in having that veteran go right over. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Peg?
Absolutely. So we have a questionnaire. Right off the bat, there's some information that we need to help people get into detox. So we need to know their name and their birth date and their social security number and their insurance. But we also ask if they're a veteran within that first couple of minutes so that we can connect them. Some of the veterans are unsure if they're eligible. And so the idea is if they can go there, they can find out what they're specifically eligible for and get help there.
Okay, so and the VA has been, very cooperative in taking any of their veterans in and going through that qualifying process as well.
Absolutely.
What other organizations are involved in that you reach out to get support in the first steps of recovery for these individuals? You mentioned High Point Treatment Center as one of the facilities. What other organizations are out there, and how far are we taking these individuals?
So I will tell you that one Friday we had 10 participants. And so we were calling as far as Springfield. Okay. So all the participants that Friday were placed.
Fantastic.
They came in a 6-hour period. The police were phenomenal because people just kept showing up and they kept calling in cheery voice. They're always, when they call and say, we have another participant. And we were thinking they were fooling us at some point because it kept to 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
But we were able to, we have great relationships. We called a lot of places in the detoxes and we said, hi, we're from the Champion program. We're really excited about this new program. We're going to be calling you when a participant comes in because they're used to getting a call from somebody in the morning or in the afternoon. Hi, I need a bed. We don't have one. Okay, call back tomorrow. But we're in a different place because we don't separate from anybody until they're placed. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if somebody comes at 7:15 and we don't place them till 9 o'clock, we wait. Mm-hmm. We wait for the transport to come. Right. And they take them to Springfield, to Carlson Recovery or Community Health Links out in Worcester or Spectrum in Westboro.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of resources that are out there that, generally you may not even think of as existing out there. And it's not just here in the city of Brockton that's right. happening as well. You mentioned transport. I understand that Brewster Ambulance, who is our city of Brockton 911 healthcare medical responder, they're part of this program as well. What has been their role and how supportive has that been?
It's amazing. When we first connected with them, we weren't really sure about how to manage that because the people that we have are not sick, so not needing the ambulance stretcher to come out and come upstairs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we worked it out that we would come downstairs with the participant and they would walk into the back of the ambulance. All of the people that have come out of the ambulance, shake hands with the participant, tell them, this is great. You're going on this new adventure. Mm-hmm. They say what their name is. We're going to have this ride down to Gosnold, and we're going to listen to some music, and we're going to take care of you on this ride.
So a true partnership.
Absolutely.
That's happening with Brockton Police Department, Stairway Recovery, Brewster Ambulance, and then all those service providers out there yes. in making that individual who has taken that first step to feel really, really welcome. Let's talk about numbers. I mean, the program started February 29th. Here we are 3.5 months, maybe 110, 115 days later, at this taping. What's happening? What are the numbers like?
Go ahead, Peg.
So I'm the nerd in the group. We've been open 129 days.
All right, 129
We've had
days.
118 participants.
Wow.
We have, and I'm sure the mayor is going to come and talk a little bit more about that later on this evening. We have placed everybody that's come through.
Mm-hmm. So one a day almost, even though you got 10 in one day.
Even though we got 10.
Yeah,
And, we'll go a couple of days without getting somebody. Mm-hmm. It gives us a chance to catch up. So that's good when that happens.
Now, the reality of taking that first step is the potential of relapse. Mm-hmm. Has there been repetitive individuals that have come in to, they made the first step, made the right effort, but it didn't work, but they still want to reach back out and, and try again?
The first time a participant came back, the second time, I was so happy. They came to the door, and I had heard that they completed detox but changed their mind about going on to the next step, to the step down. And suddenly they were there in the doorway again. And they said, should I go back to the police station? And I said, yes, and let's go through the program again. So it has happened.
Okay.
What we do is we say, what can we do different this time?
Okay.
There's been some heartache attached to people in their personal lives where they've had to leave treatment, obligations, and so they always come back. Or they'll come back and say, I don't have time for a detox because I need to take care of someone in my family, but could you send me to a SOAP program? This is something that Mary Lou does. She does research for programs in the area. Sometimes they're looking for a halfway house or a day program, something like that. So we offer all the resources. Again, the question at Stairway always is, how can we help you today? So there are people who have come through again.
Excellent. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and, volley over to Nancy. As the community education officer, what was the perception of the community in general about, this program being rolled out initially, and what has been the kind of follow-up that you might be able to share with us?
I think it's been overwhelmingly positive. I think the numbers are fantastic. We do a lot of resource fairs, and we get the word and the information out to people that haven't heard that we're doing the Champion Plan. And when we put out the information, people are very interested to find out the details, that it's 7 days a week, that we've had as many placements as we've had. So the prevention component is out there in the sense that, we're still doing Not My Kid and things like that. But when they find out that this intervention, especially if it's early, it's so positive.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the prevention programs that are out there, because I'm sure our viewers aren't probably as educated as we are who are in this recovery arena.
Should have brought a cheat sheet, but at this point, we're trying to increase the amount of education we have in the middle schools, and we've even expanded into the high school. I personally would love to get the kids earlier, like 5th and 6th grade, but certainly 7th and 8th it can be very telling and a huge turning point. But we're still very strong with the Not My Kid program. Not My Kid is different in the sense it's a parent or guardian information program, so it's a 45-minute presentation for the dangerous signs, symptoms, but we also give out drug test kits so that parents can drug test in the privacy of their own home. And the hopes is that they take the kid home and they say, when you're asked, because you will be, you can say, no, I can't because I'm drug tested at home. And then the friends come over and they see the drug test kit, and that just kind of broadens the whole conversation to, I have friends of parents that got the kit that call and say, how do I get one? When's your next presentation? So the word of mouth from that program has been phenomenal.
It's kind of like when your child brings home a report card and you ask them how do they do, you want to see the proof in the pudding. So
if my son came home and said I got all A's, I'm definitely going to say, let me see the report card. So it's corroborating everything that they say from a very early age, and this should be no different, because obviously we all know the importance in the child's health and happiness and staying drug-free and trying to accomplish their goals. Not My Kid, last I checked, we've educated over 1,500 parents since the inception in Brockton anyway, and it is a national program. But we've also expanded because we needed something to fill the gap of, okay, so this is for parents, which is great, so they could take their information and bring it home to their families. But there was the component that we needed in the middle school. So we brought in guest speakers. We've had a guest speaker from Moore. We've had Amy LaForte that was on one of your very first shows, who is now actually in the Plymouth Coalition. Corey Palazzi comes with his family and talks about his basically his life story. We also have No First Time, which is two parents from Easton that started a group. And
The Green family,
the Green
yeah,
family,
Johnny
yeah.
Green and his
Evan's
wife.
parents.
Yep.
What I especially like about that is the message of No First Time. It's not just drugs. It's, wearing your seatbelt, not texting and driving, making safe choices, making good decisions, and how one decision can affect your future. Kids, unfortunately, especially at the middle school age, are very impulsive. So if we can teach them to start thinking long term, which is very difficult when their brains aren't fully developed until mid-20s,
Yep.
but get them thinking in that capacity. So all this prevention that we're doing in the area of really ultimately opioid education, but it's a broad scope of education in general. Very, very positive.
And recent Wahlberg Foundation just out with the
So
filming.
saving the best for last.
Yeah.
I like it.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite projects, and God bless the Wahlberg family for really taking the bull by the horns with this initiative. But it was for some areas to start the conversation. Certainly in a community like Brockton, we are very out there with the education and the information and the resources, but it was continuing the conversation. So what are the dangers of opioids, and how can you talk to your parents about it, and how can you protect yourself because they are so prevalent? So the Mark Wahlberg Youth Foundation produced a movie, the executive director being his brother Jim Wahlberg, on the dangers of opioids and how to talk to your kids and why you shouldn't have them in your medicine cabinet at home. And he did it very nicely in a 36-minute film. And as you know, we did a screening in January, which was
At
the
the-
first big snowstorm.
Yeah, it was right.
And we still had over 250 people
people at
attend.
the War Memorial Auditorium that evening.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So with obviously the coalition being what it is, all our partners came out. We had, I believe, over 20 resource tables available just in this area. So they could offer their expertise. Parents and families could ask anything of anyone. The mayor's office was excellent in hosting the event. And even though we had that snowstorm, we had an incredible turnout. And from that, we splintered into different organizations that attended said, this is phenomenal, and we want to be able to do something like this. But also not just, here's the movie, which any organization, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, whatever, can certainly get the movie and have a film, have a viewing,
Right.
but also that Q&A that you can have after. So when kids have the question and they want to know, well, what could I do? Or how do I get out of that situation? Or what if I know a friend who's struggling? You can have that feedback and be able to answer those questions. And I think we've done it really well in the sense that we'll pass out index cards so people can ask anonymously. That way they take the pressure over, having to raise their hand in front of 250 different people.
And Nancy, I'll just throw this in there real quick. I can recall a few years back, we were at one of the elementary schools on one of the first, educational forums that were being held. And we had 5 parents show up, I think, that night.
I think it was 9, but
Was it
okay.
9? Okay. And look where we are,
I know,
today.
I know.
So
And honestly, Larry, I know we joke about it because we put so much into that event, but it was 9 parents that didn't have that information.
That's correct.
And the feedback that we got from the 9 that attended, it was unbelievable because they said for definitely going to share that information with other people. But we'll try to do
And
that.
I think it was a wake-up call also for our educational system as well.
Sure,
I know
sure.
Superintendent Smith was there and, realized the importance of needing to get that message out, as you said, into the middle grade level,
Yeah,
and the
and-
parents in particular.
I love the collaboration that comes from events like this because the superintendent, again, the mayor's office, everybody sent their resources. Certainly the police department. But Superintendent Smith said, I want my school adjustment counselors there. I want my guidance counselors there. So it's still one of those events where people would be able to ask questions and get the feedback. But I guess Jim Wahlberg did it better in the sense that he had the movie.
Well, the movie and the resources.
So maybe we'll do
yeah.
the movie and more resources next time. Who knows?
No, but it's a phenomenal, job you have done, obviously, out in the community
thank you.
outreach and so forth. And, the city of Brockton is proud to have you, carrying the flag in this.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for us out there. I guess we have to say the Champion Plan in its first 129 days has really, really shocked a lot of all of us, that are involved in the addiction recovery world, particularly our, political leaders out there as well. I'm sure Mayor Carpenter is ecstatic over what's been happening here. We've got about 3 or 4 minutes left for our show here, so I'm going to kind of let you say a couple of quick thoughts about where we're going from here.
So the recovery coaches call the participants while they're in detox. We call it 72 hours, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months. We call most at the first week because we want to make sure that person has a lot of supports. In this time frame, we have made over 600 follow-up phone calls to participants. The recovery coaches are amazing. Mary Lou is one of those people.
And they're all volunteers.
They are all volunteers.
And, can you add to that, Mary Lou? Anything?
No, Peg pretty much covers it all. She does a good job at doing that.
She's only as good as all the volunteers that are helping her out.
Exactly
Remember
right.
that, absolutely.
They're blessings.
Where do we see our law enforcement? Obviously, Dick, you had mentioned it earlier when you talked about the court system. The courts want to see more of a recovery versus an incarceration model take place out there. So do you see that pendulum continuing to shift in that direction from the standpoint of the courts and law enforcement overall?
Absolutely. In fact, we started a drug court this year, and that's aiding
That's helping
the recovery.
Yep.
Yes.
And the drug court is basically allowing individuals to, instead of potentially being incarcerated for their involvement in the substance abuse disorder issues and the I want to call it petty crimes, not serious crimes.
Not serious crimes, but they do come from being incarcerated. They have to have 18 months over their head probation, or opt to go up to 18 months to get into drug court. That speaks volumes right there.
Okay.
To put more time on top of their own head to join the program.
Excellent. Nancy, one of our last words?
I would just encourage people to get the information that's available on the program we have. BrocktonPolice.com is our website, and we're certainly on Facebook and Twitter. Brockton Police Community Education on Facebook and Brockton Police on Twitter.
And Peg, Stairway Recovery information, how do they get in touch with you?
We're at 142 Crescent Street, second floor. We're open 7 days a week. We hope people come by and visit with us. And we have great resources, community resources. We have, all the information is in Spanish also at our center. We have people who speak 4 different languages at our center. So we have a lot of resources for people.
A multicultural city is Brockton.
Absolutely.
It's certainly an asset for the organization to have that available. Well, on behalf of all of us here at A Deadly Silence, I want to say thank you. I want to say congratulations to, obviously, the Champion Plan overall and the continued success going forward. It is one of those necessary evils. On behalf of all of us here at A Deadly Silence, we'll hope to see you again next week.